Some motorcycles don't just ride, they kill. Many bikes have a history of danger, utter destruction, and downright deadly flaws, taking out its own riders, giving them problems that should not have existed. Today we're counting down 15 motorcycles that should be banned, and the reason why they should not exist on roads. And the most terrifying one? It's lurking at the end of our list. It should have been banned yesterday. Starting with number 15 is the Royal Enfield 500. If you've ever wanted to experience what it feels like to ride a motorcycle from the 1950s with all the safety standards of the 1950s, the Royal Enfield Bullet 500 is your ticket to orthopedic surgery. This vintage-styled nightmare should be banned simply because it's a time machine to an era before anyone cared if you survived your commute. With a 499cc single-cylinder air-cooled engine producing 27.2 horsepower, and it weighs in at a hefty 412 pounds, which means its power-to-weight ratio is a garden tractor. Its theoretical top speed of 85 miles per hour is something you'll rarely experience because you'll be too busy fixing it on the roadside. The Bullet's ancient single-cylinder engine vibrates with such enthusiasm that your fillings will eventually work themselves loose. The brakes. They're more of a polite suggestion to the wheels rather than an actual stopping mechanism. I'd like to slow down now, you think, as the Bullet responds. That's cute, but no. The electrical system seems designed by someone who considered reliability an optional feature. Riding in the rain? Good luck. The electrics might decide today's the perfect day to take a vacation, leaving you stranded in a downpour contemplating your life choices. It's like the bike has a sixth sense for the worst possible moment to leave you stranded. It's essentially a historical reenactment of what it was like to ride before safety was invented. The only thing bulletproof about this bike is its ability to find new and creative ways to strand you. It's not transportation, it's a rolling museum exhibit with a death wish. Think that was bad? Strap in, because the Italians aren't just making fast motorcycles, they're building missiles on wheels. And when it comes to dangerous rides, they're not playing, they're going for gold. Entering at our number 14 is the Moto Guzzi Lemans. The Moto Guzzi Lemans is what happens when Italian engineers decide that handling is merely a suggestion. This bike combines breathtaking beauty with breath-stopping terror in a package that screams style over survival. This Italian death trap has 844cc transverse V-twin pumping out 81 horsepower, weighing 470 pounds dry. That might not sound terrifying on paper, but it's not the numbers. It's how they're delivered. That sideways mounted engine creates torque reactions that would make NASA engineers nervous. With its transverse V-twin engine hanging out the sides like mechanical love handles, the Lemans has a center of gravity that can only be described as adventurous. Take a corner too enthusiastically, and you'll discover the unique sensation of the entire bike trying to flip itself over due to the torque reaction from that sideways engine. The brakes deserve special mention. Apply them today, and they might start working tomorrow. Perfect for riders who enjoy the thrill of uncertainty and the adrenaline rush of approaching intersections with nothing but hope and prayer. And let's not forget the electrical system. The Lemans takes Italian electrical reliability to new depths. You don't just ride a Lemans, you develop a relationship with it, specifically a toxic one. Any motorcycle that tries to flip itself over when you accelerate and refuses to stop when you brake is essentially a two-wheeled suicide machine with Italian styling. It's not transportation, it's a beautiful way to test your health insurance coverage limits. Speaking of things that have no business balancing on two wheels, let's cruise straight into disaster. Number 13. The Victory Vision, a motorcycle so massive it might as well come with its own zip code. The Victory Vision isn't so much a motorcycle as it is a land yacht with delusions of two-wheeled grandeur. If you've ever thought, I'd like to ride a motorcycle, but I wish it was as unwieldy as a cruise ship, Victory heard your bizarre request and delivered this monstrosity. This behemoth has a 1731cc V-twin engine, producing 92 horsepower and 109 pound-feet of torque. But the real showstopper is the weight. A jaw-dropping 869 pounds fully fueled. This motorcycle weighs more than some compact cars. The Vision is what happens when a motorcycle eats all the other motorcycles in the garage and then has dessert. Trying to maneuver this beast at low speeds is like trying to balance an elephant on a tightrope. The Vision's massive fairing and bodywork create what engineers call interesting wind dynamics at highway speeds. By interesting, I mean it catches crosswinds like a sail, giving riders the unique experience of being blown across 3 lanes of traffic without warning. Nothing keeps you alert like unexpected lane changes you didn't initiate. God forbid you should ever drop this behemoth. Once it's down, you have 2 options. Call a tow truck or call several strong friends. Either way, you're not picking it up yourself unless you've been training for the world's strongest man competition. It's less a motorcycle and more a lesson in humility with handlebars. If it falls on you, all I can say is good luck. It's not a motorcycle, it's a mobile crushing hazard with cup holders. It's transportation in the same way that wearing concrete shoes is swimming gear. Now let's rattle our bones into number 12. A bike so brutally shaky, riders joked it came with its own Richter scale. Meet the pre-2015 KTM 690 Enduro R, part motorcycle, part natural disaster. The pre-2015 KTM 690 Enduro R is what happens when engineers decide that comfort is for the weak and reliability is overrated. This dirt bike with delusions of street legality should be banned because human spines aren't designed to endure this level of abuse. This orange menace is built with a 690cc single-cylinder engine, pumping out 67 horsepower in a package weighing just 309 pounds dry. That's a power-to-weight ratio that would be impressive if it didn't come with a side order of spinal compression and nerve damage. The single-cylinder engine vibrates so much that riders report being able to see through time after about 30 minutes in the saddle. Your hands will go numb, your vision will blur, and you'll develop a relationship with your chiropractor that's more committed than most marriages. The suspension, while technically advanced, is still questionable. Hit an unexpected bump at speed, and you'll be checking your teeth for cracks while wondering if you've gotten shorter. And let's talk about that seat. It's less a seat and more a thinly disguised torture device. It ensures that even if the vibration doesn't get you, the discomfort will. The fuel range is another special feature. With a tank that holds about enough fuel for a lawnmower, you'll become intimately familiar with every gas station within a 100-mile radius of your home. Nothing says adventure like wondering if you'll make it to the next fuel stop. A motorcycle that requires a medical waiver and a spinal surgeon on speed dial isn't transportation. It's a mobile torture device with orange paint. It's a chiropractic adjustment that might kill you. If you thought the last bike was a torture device, surely German engineering will save us, right? Think again. Number 11 is the early BMW R1200 GS, a so-called adventure bike that's more likely to leave you stranded 200 miles from civilization than actually get you there. The early BMW R1200 GS models are perfect for adventurers who enjoy the thrill of mechanical failure in remote locations. Nothing says adventure quite like being stranded in the wilderness because your final drive decided to explode without warning. Abandonment is a form of psychological torture. With a 1170 CCC Boxer twin producing 100 horsepower and 85 pound-feet of torque, wrapped in a package weighing 496 pounds dry. It's designed to take you anywhere, and sometimes leave you there permanently. These early GS models came with a final drive that had all the reliability of a politician's promise. It wasn't a question of if it would fail, but when, and how far from civilization you'd be when it happened. BMW apparently considered this a feature, not a bug. After all, what's more adventurous than an unexpected 200-mile tow? The servo-assisted brakes were another special touch. When they worked, they were fantastic. When they didn't, which was alarmingly often, you discovered the unique sensation of a brake lever that goes all the way to the handlebar with minimal deceleration effect. Perfect for those riders who enjoy surprise adrenaline rushes. The price of ownership extends well beyond the purchase price. BMW parts aren't just expensive, they're extortionate. A simple service can cost more than a monthly mortgage payment, and that's if nothing major has failed. If something major does fail, well, hope you didn't have any plans for your children's college fund. Any motorcycle that randomly strands you in the wilderness isn't transportation. It's a very expensive way to die of exposure while cursing German engineering. It's not an adventure bike, it's an adventure in financial ruin with occasional transportation capabilities. Worried we forgot the Brits? Don't be. Number 10 is the early 2000s Triumph Daytona 955i, a bike that proves the UK's real specialty is still electrical disasters. The early 2000s Triumph Daytona 955i proves that British engineering traditions are alive and well. Specifically, the tradition of leaving you stranded on the roadside contemplating your life choices. It's essentially a mobile electrical fire waiting to happen. Built with a 955cc inline triple producing 147 horsepower in a package weighing 434 pounds dry. The triple even sounds glorious when it's running, which isn't as often as you'd hope for a bike with a premium price tag. Random electrical failures aren't just possible, they're part of the ownership experience. The fuel injection system has more mood swings than a teenager, sometimes running perfectly, and other times stubbornly refusing to idle without stalling. The cooling system deserves special mention. Triumph apparently decided that consistent engine temperature was an optional feature, creating a bike that runs cool until it suddenly doesn't, usually in stop-and-go traffic, where you can fully appreciate the sensation of your inner thighs being slow-roasted like rotisserie chicken. The build quality adds another layer of excitement to ownership. Fasteners that spontaneously loosen, electrical connectors that corrode if you so much as mention rain, and paint that seems allergic to sunlight. It's not so much a motorcycle as it is a project that you occasionally get to ride. It's more likely to catch fire than get you to your destination isn't transportation. It's an arson attempt with a license plate. It's not a vehicle, it's a part-time job with occasional transportation benefits. Now what about American muscles? That's more like a jackhammer on wheels. Time for number 9. The pre-2006 Harley-Davidson Dyna Wide Glide, a vibrating beast that answers questions no sane rider ever asked. The pre-2006 Harley-Davidson Dyna Wide Glide is what happens when engineers decide that comfort is for the weak and vibration is a feature, not a bug. It's essentially a mobile earthquake that causes permanent nerve damage. Produced with a 1450cc V-twin producing a modest 67 horsepower but a stump-pulling 85 pound-feet of torque, all in a package weighing 650 pounds dry. But the numbers don't tell the real story. Thanks to its rigidly mounted engine, the Wide Glide transmits every single combustion pulse directly to your skeleton. At idle, the mirrors are so blurry, they're essentially useless. Above 60 miles per hour, your vision starts to blur as your eyeballs vibrate in their sockets. By 70 miles per hour, your fillings are at risk of being shaken loose. It's like the bike is having a seizure. The forward controls and wide handlebars create a riding position that can only be described as the human sail. Hit a crosswind on the highway, and you'll experience the unique thrill of unexpected lane changes without touching the handlebars. Nothing keeps you alert like fighting for your life against a gentle breeze. And let's not forget the brakes. Emergency stops aren't so much stops as they are gradual deceleration events that may or may not conclude before you hit whatever you're trying to avoid. The heat output from that big V-twin is another special feature. In traffic, your inner thighs get cooked to medium well as the engine radiates enough heat to warm a small apartment. A bike that causes permanent nerve damage and makes it impossible to see where you're going isn't transportation. It's a medical condition with handlebars. It's not a vehicle. It's a vibration therapy device that occasionally transports you between chiropractor appointments. Now we hop on the next genre of bikes, speed. What about a turbocharged bike? Our next entry demonstrates that fast bikes can absolutely go horribly wrong. At the number 8 spot is the Honda CX500 Turbo. The Honda CX500 Turbo was Honda's answer to a question they created. What if we took a mediocre motorcycle and made it unpredictably dangerous? This bike executes an unpredictable power delivery mid-corner that is essentially attempted murder. The specs are made with 497cc V-twin with a turbocharger bolted on, producing 82 horsepower in a package weighing 584 pounds wet. That's right. This middleweight bike weighed as much as many heavyweight cruisers, but with the added excitement of turbo lag and boost that arrived like an unexpected slap to the face. This technological marvel featured a turbocharger bolted onto Honda's CX500 engine, creating a power delivery system best described as all or nothing. Cruise along at steady throttle, and it's a docile pussycat. Need to pass? Twist the throttle and wait. Then boo! The turbo kicks in out of nowhere. It's like riding a bike with bipolar disorder that decides to have a manic episode while you're leaned over at 60 miles per hour. It would run perfectly until it suddenly didn't, usually in the most inconvenient locations possible. Honda technicians of the era reportedly developed a special 1,000-yard stare when CX500 turbos were mentioned. The complexity of the machine meant that even routine maintenance required specialized knowledge, tools, and possibly a degree in mechanical engineering. Adjusting the 16 valves was a procedure so intricate that many dealers refused to do it. And if something went wrong with the turbo system, well, I hope you enjoyed talking to your motorcycle more than riding it. It can't decide whether it wants to crawl or catapult you into the next county. It's Russian roulette with a throttle. Now what if we mix speed with beauty? Well, the answer is putting your life at a stylish risk. Our next Italian entry proves that dramatic flair comes with expensive repair bills. At the number 7 spot is the Ducati Monster S4. The early Ducati Monster S4 perfectly embodies Italian motorcycle philosophy. Gorgeous to look at, thrilling to ride, and temperamental enough to make you question your life. Anything this beautiful shouldn't be this determined to kill you. An intoxicating 916cc L-twin engine, borrowed from a superbike, producing 101 horsepower in a naked chassis, weighing just 425 pounds dry. On paper, it's a dream. In reality, it's a nightmare wrapped in Italian styling. The Monster S4 delivers power with all the subtlety of an espresso shot directly to your veins. The throttle responds to inputs you haven't even thought of yet, often by trying to launch you into orbit. It's not sensitive, it's psychic. The dry clutch deserves special mention. Combined with the abrupt throttle, pulling away from stops becomes a binary choice between stalling or wheeling into traffic. There is no middle ground. And then there's the sound of that dry clutch, a rattling cacophony that sounds like you're being followed by a bucket of angry wrenches. Ducati owners call it character. Everyone else calls it annoying or is something broken? It's the mechanical equivalent of a toddler banging pots and pans together. Heat management is another Italian pizza specialty. In traffic, the Monster S4 channels all engine heat directly to your inner thighs, ensuring you're both uncomfortable and possibly sterile after a summer ride. With the combination of maintenance schedule of a Formula One car and reliability that is more questionable than other bikes, this isn't a bike, it's an expensive way to test hospital emergency response times. If you thought one Italian beauty was dangerous, wait until you meet her supermodel sister with a vendetta against your wrists and spine. Following at number 6 is the Ducati 996. The Ducati 996 is the motorcycle equivalent of a supermodel with a switchblade. Stunningly beautiful, but potentially lethal. It combines breathtaking design with handling characteristics that separate the skilled from the soon-to-be hospitalized. With an intimidating 996cc L-twin producing 112 horsepower and 73 lb-ft of torque in a package weighing just 438 pounds dry. With a 0 to 60 time of around 3 seconds, it's faster than many supercars of its era and far more likely to put you in the hospital. It delivers power like an angry bull. The throttle response isn't so much precise as it is vindictive. Roll on the throttle mid-corner and you'll discover whether your life insurance is up to date or not. The power doesn't arrive. It explodes. The riding position was apparently designed by someone who studied medieval torture devices for inspiration. Stretched forward like you're trying to kiss the front wheel, with your wrists bearing weight they were never evolutionarily designed to support. You'll develop a first-name relationship with your physical therapist within months. The turning radius would embarrass an oil tanker. At low speeds, making a U-turn requires the space of a small parking lot and the upper body strength of an Olympic gymnast. Once you're committed to a direction, you're going that way regardless of what obstacles might appear. Combined with the ergonomics of a medieval rack with the temperament of a wounded bull, isn't transportation. It's a masochist's fantasy with a Ducati badge. It's not a vehicle. It's an expensive way to discover your pain threshold. Think modern bikes are dangerous? Let's take a trip back to the 1970s, when motorcycle engineers apparently viewed their customers as expendable test pilots. Welcoming in our top 5 is the 1972 Kawasaki H2 MachV. The 1972 Kawasaki H2 Mach-4 wasn't so much a motorcycle as it was a declaration of war on safety. This legendary two-stroke triple should be banned retroactively because it earned its Widowmaker nickname honestly. With a terrifying 748cc two-stroke triple producing 74 horsepower in a package weighing just 423 pounds dry. That might not sound impressive by today's standards, but in 1972, it was like giving a toddler a flamethrower. It was faster than most cars of the era and infinitely more dangerous. The power band wasn't a band at all. It was a cliff. Cruise along at 5,000 RPM, and it's docile. Hit 6,000 RPM, and the front wheel would head for the stratosphere, while the flexible frame decided which direction it felt like going today. It's like riding a rocket with a rudimentary guidance system that occasionally decides to ignore your inputs. The handling was another special feature. The H2 introduced riders to the concept of speed wobbles, at speeds that would be considered parking lot maneuvers on modern bikes. The brakes deserve special mention. They weren't so much brakes as suggestions to slow down. The drum rear and single-disc front had all the stopping power of stern language, requiring riders to plan their stops approximately 3 counties in advance. And let's not forget the fuel consumption. The H2 didn't just burn fuel, it devoured it with enthusiasm. At full throttle, you could almost watch the fuel gauge drop in real time. It's not miles per gallon, it's gallons per mile. The 2-stroke oil consumption would seize gas faster than assets in a federal raid. It's like having a pet that dies if you forget to feed it for 5 minutes. With an explosive power with the structural integrity of a wet noodle, it's a suicide machine with a cool paint job. It's not a vehicle, it's a near-death experience you can sit on. Just when you thought tank slappers were a thing of the past, Suzuki decided to bring them back with modern technology and even more power. At our 4th spot is the 1997 Suzuki TL1000S. The 1997 Suzuki TL1000S is what happens when engineers create a motorcycle with active homicidal tendencies. It doesn't just want to go fast, it wants to see if you can survive the experience. This mechanical menace has a 996cc V-twin producing 125 horsepower and 77 pound-feet of torque in a package weighing 458 pounds dry. But the real killer was the innovative rear suspension, a rotary damper that worked brilliantly until it didn't, which was usually at the worst possible moment. Powered by a 996cc V-twin engine that delivers torque like an arrow to the kidneys, the TL1000S combined brutal power with a chassis that had all the stability of a politician's promises. The infamous tank slappers weren't just possible, they were practically guaranteed. Hit a bump while accelerating, and the handlebars would violently oscillate from lock to lock, faster than human reflexes could respond. The heat management was another special feature. The V-twin engine generated enough heat to warm a small village, most of which was directed straight to the rider's crotch. Nothing says high-performance riding like first-degree burns. Suzuki eventually issued a recall to fit steering dampers, essentially admitting, "Oops, we accidentally built a death trap." But by then, the TL1000S had already earned its reputation as a bike that would try to kill you given half a chance. It actively tries to throw you off at highway speeds isn't transportation, it's an amusement park ride that escaped into the wild without safety harnesses. Now let's take it to a whole new different level. When Italian engineering meets Formula One technology, it creates a bike so extreme it makes skydiving look like a relaxing hobby. I introduce you to our top 3, starting with the Ducati Panagal. The Ducati Panagal isn't just a motorcycle, it's a mechanical sociopath dressed in supermodel clothing. This Italian masterpiece is built on a 1,299cc V-twin, producing over 200 horsepower in a package weighing just 420 pounds wet. That's a power-to-weight ratio that would make fighter jet pilots nervous. With a 0 to 60 time of under 3 seconds and a top speed approaching 190 miles per hour, it's less a motorcycle and more a guided missile with handlebars. With its screaming V-twin producing north of 200 horsepower in a package weighing less than most teenagers, the power-to-weight ratio isn't just impressive, it's irresponsible. The throttle response isn't so much precise as it is vindictive. It's like trying to control a lightning bolt with your right wrist. The riding position was apparently designed by someone who studied medieval torture devices for inspiration. Folded up like human origami, with your wrists bearing weight they were never evolutionarily designed to support. It's like yoga, if yoga's goal was spinal fusion. The heat output deserves special mention. The underseat exhaust on some models ensures that your inner thighs are slow roasted to medium well during city riding. Nothing says premium Italian experience like having your reproductive organs cooked while sitting in traffic. Who needs children anyway when you have 200 horsepower between your legs? The electronics package is essentially an admission from Ducati that humans aren't qualified to control this much power. Traction control, wheelie control, launch control, slide control. They're not features. They're digital guardian angels trying desperately to keep you alive, despite the bike's best efforts to the contrary. Combined with the ergonomics of a torture rack with the acceleration of a fighter jet and the heat output of a crematorium isn't transportation. It's a mobile emergency room admission form with a Ducati badge. It's a beautiful way to test the limits of both physics and your health insurance. Just when you thought motorcycles couldn't get more extreme, Japan enters the fight with a bike that makes fighter pilots nervous. At our number 2 is the Yamaha R1. The Yamaha R1 isn't just a motorcycle, it's a one-way ticket to either glory or the emergency room, with the odds heavily favoring the latter. This Japanese missile should be banned because it puts MotoGP-level performance in the hands of anyone with a credit score above room temperature. With a nerve-wracking 998 inline-4 producing 200 horsepower in a package weighing just 439 pounds wet, with a 0 to 60 time of around 2.6 seconds, and a top speed of 186 miles per hour, it's faster than most supercars costing 10 times as much. And unlike those cars, there's no safety cage, no airbags, just you, physics, and your questionable decision-making skills. The R1 delivers acceleration that doesn't just push the limits of physics, it actively tries to bend them. 0 to oh dear God happens in seconds, often before the rider's brain has processed what's happening. It's like strapping yourself to a missile with handlebars. The riding position makes you look like a shrimp. Folded up like a human paperclip with your wrists supporting weight they were never designed to bear, you'll develop a romantic relationship with an orthopedic specialist within months. The seat isn't so much a seat as it is a suggestion of where your body should perch while the bike tries to separate you from it. The electronics package on modern R1s is essentially an admission from Yamaha that humans aren't qualified to control this much power. Traction control, wheelie control, launch control, they're not features. They're digital guardian angels trying desperately to keep you alive despite your worst impulses. The brakes on the R1 are so powerful they could stop time itself. Unfortunately, they're also sensitive enough that a sneeze could send you over the handlebars. It's like having an on-off switch for velocity. There's no gentle deceleration, just going fast and not going at all. It requires multiple electronic nannies to prevent it from killing you is a near-death experience. It's a Darwin Award application with a fancy paint job. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the undisputed champion of two-wheeled terror, a bike so extreme it makes everything else on this list look like kiddie rides. At the top of our list is the Suzuki Hayabusa. The Suzuki Hayabusa isn't just a motorcycle, it's an exercise in mechanical excess that borders on mechanical psychopathy. Created specifically to claim the title of world's fastest production motorcycle, it doesn't just push boundaries, it obliterates them with extreme prejudice. With a scary 1340cc inline-4 producing 197 horsepower and 114 pound-feet of torque in a package weighing 586 pounds wet. With a 0 to 60 time of 2.6 seconds, a quarter-mile time of 9.7 seconds, and a top speed of over 190 miles per hour, it's not just fast, it's physics-alteringly fast. And unlike many superbikes, it's comfortable enough for all-day riding, meaning you can reach felony speeds while remaining perfectly relaxed. The Hayabusa delivers speed with all the subtlety of being shot out of a cannon. The acceleration isn't just brutal, it's reality warping, compressing time and space around you as the scenery blurs into abstract art. The aerodynamic styling, while functional, creates a bike that looks like it's doing 200 miles per hour while parked. This visual promise of speed attracts exactly the wrong kind of rider. Those who want to go fast without developing the skills necessary to control that speed. The result? A bike that's responsible for more YouTube crash compilations than perhaps any other model. What makes the Hayabusa truly dangerous isn't just its performance, it's its accessibility. Unlike temperamental Italian exotics that require constant maintenance, the Busa is Japanese reliable. It will happily deliver license-shredding, jail-time-earning speeds day after day without complaint, making it the perfect enabler for poor decision-making. It's like having a bartender who never cuts you off, no matter how drunk you get. The first-generation Hayabusa is particularly special because it arrived before electronic rider aids became standard. It offered its full, terrifying performance with no safety nets whatsoever. It was like giving a teenager the launch codes to nuclear missiles and saying, "Try to be responsible." The Hayabusa doesn't just demand respect, it demands fear. It's not a motorcycle for transportation. It's a two-wheeled missile with handlebars, a mechanical enabler that whispers faster in your ear until either your courage or your luck runs out. It's the ultimate expression of speed for speed's sake. Consequences be damned. A motorcycle capable of reaching speeds that can outrun helicopters while remaining as reliable as a toaster is a felony waiting to happen with a comfortable seat. It's a one-way ticket to either jail or the morgue, depending on your luck that day. And there's our top 15. Want to watch more videos like this one? Click your screen now. Thanks for watching.